Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Successful with Schizophrenia. I'm your host, Hayali, and I'm excited for our 23rd episode. All right, so what is on today's agenda? Today, we're going to be talking about basics and returning gifts. If you are an OG, original listener, OL, then you would know about basics already. But for those of you who are new, and for those of you that want a shorter episode to get back to the basics, here it is. All right, so the first one is B, breathe. If you're unfamiliar with box breathing, that is what I would recommend. You breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, out for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, and you repeat that cycle. Okay, that is called box breathing, and it's been scientifically proven to calm down your nervous system or to relax you. Okay, so if you ever feel like you're getting a little uptight, you can practice box breathing, and that should help. But if that's not working, you can appreciate things and practice gratitude. So, some things that I would appreciate would be I appreciate my home. I appreciate my dog. I appreciate my laptop. I appreciate my audience, my listeners. All right. So, I think about all the things that are going right in my life. And the next one is smile. The reason why I say smile is because your brain doesn't know that you're unhappy. If you're hallucinating and you're unhappy and you're smiling, your brain just thinks you're happy. And your mood will start to switch over to happy rather than being sad or in a depressive state or hallucinating, feeling out of control. That is a good way to bring you back into control by controlling your facial reactions or your facial your facial reactions. Okay. And when it was really hard for me to do that, I looked up ways to practice smiling, right? And it's weird, but I did find ways to practice smiling online. And all you would have to do is take a pen or a pencil in between your mouth, and you're using the same muscles. Oh, sorry. You're using the same muscles that you would if you were to smile by yourself. So, just for practice, if you wanted to bite a pencil or bite a pen, it's going to use those same muscles because it might be physically impossible or it might be feeling physically impossible for you to force a smile. So, biting a pen or a pencil is a good way around it. And then I can. I couldn't come up with a word, a single word for I, so I came up with I can. So I think about all the things I can do. What is in my power? So I can go get groceries. I can walk my dog. I can do the dishes. I can read a book. You get the idea. I think about all the things I can do and I go do them. All right. So if I can go without having distractions, then I could possibly get through my laundry. But here is the next one. Okay, so after I can, and if that's still not working, you can count. Okay, so this is when the hallucinations are getting very overwhelming and you can't focus on specific tasks, like, for example, folding laundry. I've been there. All right, then what you can do is count. Count how many boxes you see, or circles that you see, or white items that you see. The idea is to count anything that there would be numerous of. So you're training your brain to look for something in specific and to be detailed rather than listening to whatever's going on in your head or having an emotional reaction to whatever you're feeling, whatever you're smelling, whatever you're uh, hearing, I already said that, or thinking, right? So if it's getting really, really distracting, you can start counting, okay? If you're outside, you can count leaves. If you're inside, you can count square objects, okay? So you get the idea. The idea is to distract yourself. And the last one is very powerful. So don't use it as a first one. Don't use it as the first one because I don't want you getting used to going straight to breaking glass and using the emergency coping skill if you don't have to, because I don't want you to rely on this one because it's a little odd. All right. So I noticed when I was hallucinating and hearing all the voices and they were really, really loud and super distracting, that when I tried to sing, like actually sing, use my voice and tune and remember the words all at the same time, it stopped my hallucinations dead in their tracks. Okay. I cannot promise the same thing for you. I do not know what will happen for you. But for me personally, I found it was extremely hard to remember the words and the tune and complete it at the same time. Okay, so that took a lot of brain power and also um, physical power over my mouth and over my brain. So that could really help. All right, so get back to the basics. Get back to the basics is breathe, appreciate, smile, I can, count, and sing. Okay, so if this is your first time hearing it, maybe you want to take a screenshot of what we have on our YouTube channel, or maybe you want to check out the show notes because it'll be there as well. Okay, so remember, get back to the basics. All right, so the next one we have is gifts. I know that some people for Valentine's Day probably got gifts that they like chocolates, roses, maybe a card, maybe a love letter to yourself, right? Chances are you got a gift that you enjoyed. But what if you have a gift that you don't enjoy? Hmm, what can we do with that? Okay, if you don't see where I'm going already, I'll let you know. Some people call schizophrenia or having hallucinations a gift, or being able to foresee the future, have some kind of psychic abilities. Some people view it as a gift. And that's why it gets very, very hard to not listen to it because people think that God is talking to them. People think that it's supernatural and it's always right and there's no other way to explain otherwise. But if you test it out and you know how to test it out, you would notice it's sometimes right. Okay. For me, it was 50% of the time. How would I test it out? I would say, if this is really true, then I'll get a text message within the next 5 minutes. And of course, a text message wouldn't come. If this is really true, then um, I would, I don't know. You get it though, right? You're going to test it out, and sometimes it's wrong, sometimes it's right. And it can be a hassle a lot of the times. So just weigh out the pros and cons. Is that little bit of sometimes right information worth all the cons, the hassle, the stress, the anxiety, the depression? Chances are it's not worth it. Okay, so me personally, I returned it. I know a lot of people say that it's a psychic ability, it's a gift, you should appreciate it, not everyone has it. Well, guess what? For us, it's obviously a little bit of a challenge, right? Because if it wasn't a challenge, you wouldn't be looking for my stuff right now. Okay, you wouldn't find this on YouTube, you wouldn't find this on our Apple Podcasts, you wouldn't find it on Spotify, right? You wouldn't find our Instagram. If you were not having troubles with it, you would have never found us. Okay, so maybe it's worth returning it. Okay, and how do we return it? Great question. We apply basics. Okay, so you can practice basics regularly or just practice what does basics stand for in your head, or you can practice writing it down so that when you do need it, your memory can call upon it pretty easy. So when I was not hallucinating and I was on and off, in and out of reality, one thing that really helped me is I continuously practice saying basics in my head, and the breathe, uh, appreciate, smile, I can, count, and sing. I practice saying that over and over again in my head so that when it did come back, I knew exactly what I should do. Okay, so that's 6 different steps that you can do if you're having a hallucination. All right, so hopefully one of those works out for you, if not all of them. All right. One thing that I wanted to add would be value your independent thinking and try not to need reassurance. Okay, so how do we value independent thinking? Well, when I was having hallucinations and voices in my head, I knew that the thought was not mine. Okay, it felt like it was someone else's thought. It felt like someone else was saying it. They had a whole different voice. Okay, so I knew what was my thought and I knew what was not my thought. And I would rely on my thoughts only and try not to be influenced to the best of my abilities, the voices that I was hearing. Okay. So that's an idea to value your independent thinking and try not to listen to the voices. Whatever your gut reaction was first, go with it. And it's probably going to be better than whatever the voices said. All right. And the next one is try not needing reassurance. So this can be practiced whether you're hallucinating or not. Sometimes people provide a lot of reassurance. They ask how you're doing. They ask, are you okay? Right. And they constantly do these check ins. Okay. And when you say you're doing bad or you say you're doing poorly or you say something's wrong, then they provide you reassurance. Okay. So this is a good way to return the gift because if you practice not needing other people's approval, the voices and their message will be less potent. Am I making sense here? Okay, so let me go through it again. If you don't need reassurance in your waking life, chances are you won't listen to the voices when you're in the dream state or when you're in a psychotic episode or whether you're not 100% with reality, whatever you want to call it, la la land, right? Sometimes I like to call it the land of lost socks, because sometimes you put things in the washer and then it's a lost sock, it's gone forever. Okay, so whenever you feel like you're visiting a dream state or a different kind of reality, then it might be a sign for you to go back to the basics, value your independent thinking, and try your best to not need reassurance when you can. I know it can be really hard, but try your best to not need reassurance. Okay, so for today, we talked about basics, we talked about gifts, and returning gifts. So hopefully, this was helpful for you. If it was, please let me know which step in basics you found most helpful. Let me know whether you kept your gift or whether you're returning it. Maybe let us know on our Instagram or comment or like us on Facebook. Okay, so we're on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn now, in case you want to reach out on LinkedIn, and of course, Spotify and Apple Podcasts and YouTube. So if you're seeing me right now, you would know that we're on YouTube. And if you're listening to me only, you would know that we're on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. All right, so that's it for me today, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. And that's about it. Bye.